Hello, everyone. This is Coach Tim Campsall, and I'm excited to have a fellow business owner with us today. Something unique about my guest is, check this out. I don't know if this is true or not because we're going to ask her afterwards, but she was raised in a cult. Hmm. Well, we'll find out whether that's true. In her downtime, she likes to take time off for intentionality in the mountains, where she does some pretty heavy hiking and soul centering. And she's most proud of the way that she has learned to treat every soul in a wonderful and just God-loving way. And she's thankful for the way that she was raised and her upbringing that gave her an other-centered life. It's my pleasure to welcome Lydia to the show today. Hi, Lydia.
Hello, good to be here.
So before we get into it, I gotta know, was the cult for real?
I did send you two truths and a lie when you
Yes.
asked me for some introduction. The lie was that I have a massive, unique snake skin collection. I cannot stand snakes. They terrify me. And so it was true. I was raised in a cult. It took me 40 years to realize that and about 10 years of therapy to say those words. Um, Not everything was terrible. It's not like one of those kind of cults, but I definitely have had to do a lot of rethinking and restructuring of my understanding of who God is and how he relates to us as human beings. And I had a lot of great things that came out of that experience, but it is definitely a unique story.
Wow.
Haven't met too many other people that have that story.
Yeah, you're
But
gonna be
yeah.
able to write a book. And the other truth that you shared is you were in the 1% for your, was it college entrance exams? Yeah.
I scored better than 99% of the nation in the college entrance exams way back when, though. I would not stack myself up against the minds of today, though.
Well, let's start with having you introduce yourself. Tell us your full name and a little bit of your personal story, like where you were born and live and about your family.
All right. So my name is Lydia Clark, and I am the CEO of Integrity Benefit Partners here in Indianapolis, Indiana. We are a faith forward benefits design company. We'll talk more about that in just a little bit. But I was actually born in Indiana, but then whisked away to Florida at a very early age. And my father pastored a military church down there for many, many years. And so the bulk of my years have been spent in Florida. And I moved back to Indiana about 10 years ago to be with my parents as they're going through this life stage and have loved it here. Much better place to raise children. I love the seasons. I don't think I would ever move back to Florida. I have two daughters that are both graduated now as of May. My youngest
Oh,
graduated
congrats.
Purdue, boiler up. And then I have four bonus children, including two, a Guatemalan brother and sister.
Yeah.
And then I just got married in May to an amazing man, and he has two young adopted boys. So after being an empty nester, I am learning how to make school
Yeah,
lunches
good for
again and
you.
go to all the soccer matches and everything.
Yeah.
In my 50s, that's a bit of a challenge now. I got to take a lot of vitamins. But yeah, so
Well, fortunately, with your other-centered upbringing, you're open to change and welcoming others into your home. So good for you.
definitely. My body doesn't always follow my mind, but we're working on that.
So, Lydia, is there a funny story that your family likes to tell about you that you'd be willing to share with us today?
I'm not generally the funny one in the family. I'm kind of like I'm the firstborn. I'm the get stuff done.
Uh-huh.
We'll insert stuff there, GSD. Um, but I think probably the most endearing thing that they snicker and giggle at, even my children, is that I am the biggest ditz. And you would not know that. As I mentioned, like I scored better than 99% of America in the college entrance exam. I went on to graduate magna cum laude. I got my CPA and passed all four parts the first time. And I got like about a million industry designations. I think it's a sickness. I just like testing. And so I have like all of this, industry prowess and knowledge. And my husband had accused me of trying to get the entire alphabet behind my name. I was like, no, I just love taking tests. And so for me to be the executive brain of my family and of my siblings and to be so dumb at the same time, I think is super endearing. So like I have these big blonde moments all the time and they think it is just the greatest thing ever. So Probably my dad's favorite story would be when now I'm talking, I'm in my 30s at this point, and I never understood what having your tires rotated did. I couldn't
Mm.
understand going and paying to have your tires rotated because I thought, man, I hope none of my clients see this or any of my staff, but I thought it meant that they would rotate the tires this way until like the little Michelin signs lined
Oh.
up with each other. Right. And so they're going around, and I was like, that is so dumb to pay for because as soon as you hit a bump, those are going to be off centered again. So it is silly stuff like
I
that that happens
love
all
it.
the
That
time. I don't
is
know how I can be
awesome.
such a bad butt over here in business
Yeah.
and so ditzy at the same time.
Don't worry, no one is going to hear that part at all.
Probably not.
No,
Probably
it's
not.
all good.
We're going to bury this.
So, Lydia, tell us, how did the business come about, and at what point did you have the confidence that you could run your own business?
So I've always kind of my life first as a youngster was you know, it was in Philippians about being quiet, sitting by yourself, being quiet and doing your own work with your own hands. I've always been a recluse, very quiet, very studious, like not I was the nerdy one. I was not outgoing, and now I'm in sales. I don't know. But I was not outgoing at all. Very, very quiet, studied music, studied, my schooling and everything. And somehow, um, out of the pressures that were placed on me very young in the cult that I was in, um, I was a driven accomplisher. Like that was my worth. And that's what I
Mm,
had to learn to grow from. My worth came from always working, always just
right.
doing everything that was placed in front of me and other people's stuff too. And so I
Sure.
built a really codependent approach to life.
Yeah.
But I was the driver, I was the accomplisher because we never took a break as a family. My dad was a pastor. I was the oldest daughter. I was expected, I was the church pianist. I was, a teacher in the school. Like
Right.
we
Right.
were we were on the property 7 out of 7 days. We very rarely took vacation. So I never really learned how to rest,
Mm,
vacate. So I've kind of always been that driver.
yeah.
But in earnest, 7 years ago, so I've always been an independent contractor for most of my life. But 7 years ago, after watching what was happening in our industry, in the insurance industry, as you can imagine, what I might have been seeing happening
Right.
7 years ago, and after multiple times of being affected by some of the criminal behavior that goes on in the insurance industry, I decided the only way that we could protect ourselves, our staff, our families, and our clients was to build this thing ourselves
Mm,
and do it right from the ground up and build our walls high so that the shenanigans that go on in the insurance world as a whole do not touch our client base, do not touch our families.
yeah.
We can honor God with our business and our business dealings, and the business that is supposed to come to us will come to us.
Yeah.
But we are absolutely making a difference in that realm because I just had a conversation with another broker last week. He's brand new in the industry, and he said, I cannot find out any, like nobody will tell me anything, how to do self-funding, how to, structure
Right.
level funded plans. And I said, let's have lunch. I'll share with you everything I know. And he
Uh,
was so shocked that we would be willing to share trade
yeah.
secrets. And I said, look, we're part of a grassroots movement in the US to turn upside down this what I call the modern mafia of healthcare in America. And the more we share with you how we're overcoming
Yeah.
those challenges for American businesses and families, we're raising the industry as a whole, right? We can't make a difference keeping our secrets to ourselves. So
That's
it
awesome.
was about 7 years ago when I decided to cut ties with any insurance company, any administrator, and we developed Integrity Benefit Partners. There was intentionality in that name because it was exactly what was lacking in the
Yeah.
companies
Yeah.
that we had been representing for many
That's
years. So
fantastic. So, what about the confidence side? Where did that come from? Was that just part of your upbringing of always being the one who got stuff done? How'd you have the confidence that you could run your own business?
I am I'm really just a start running, and then you'll figure where you're running to.
That's
Yeah, like
awesome.
I know I can sense when I need movement,
Yeah.
or when movement is needed. I'm not the kind of person to stay in a stuck place. I'm
Okay.
always going to be. I can feel, I can sense when it's just a little off, and I'm like, okay, that's not the
Yeah.
direction we're supposed to be. Sometimes
Yeah.
you need to push through,
Sure.
perseverance, but sometimes it's God directing you
Yeah.
somewhere else where there's greater blessing. You can have a greater impact. So I don't know why there's nothing I can point to in my history other than my personality stylings, which came from God, right?
Yeah.
I didn't earn those, but My personality styling, I'm an Enneagram 3, so I'm just a GSD girl. And I'll figure it out as I go along. So I think that my personality really played into my today. My staff is just like, I don't know what Lydia's up to today. She's over here. Okay, I guess we're going over here now, right? So and we'll figure it out on the way. But the confidence has been there, I think, primarily just because of my personality stylings and the giftedness that got infused in me
Yeah,
at birth and through my childhood experiences.
I love it. That's awesome. So tell us more about the company. I know you've said it, but say the name again. What do you guys do? How do you help people?
So Integrity Benefit Partners, we are our clients probably would not know this, but we are a faith forward employee benefits design firm. And we stand in the gap. And I say this with complete confidence. Ask any of our clients. We have raving reviews a mile long, but we stand in the gap where other brokerage companies just do the same. It's like rinse and repeat the same thing
Mhm.
over. Okay, we're going to put you with Anthem this year. We're going to put you with United Healthcare next year, and then back to Anthem the year after that if you don't like UHC, right? Those are part of, if I can say this publicly, those are part of what I call the modern mafia. And I speak publicly about this. And you guys have seen the news lately. There's mafia dealings, even, I mean, the UHC CEO, was an experienced, an act of mafia,
Mm.
right, in broad daylight, right? And the American public is done with these old institutions that are breaking their backs, right? For
Right.
breaking the backs of American public for profit. There was a Forbes article 2 years ago about the CEO of Anthem, and it was an article highlighting women in business, women executives, and her name was Gail. And I wanted so hard to celebrate Gail when they were listing all of her
Right.
accomplishments, but one of her accomplishments was Anthem's profits were 30% year over year, right at the end of COVID.
Mm.
And I sit in front of those families and business owners day in and day out to try to help them to figure out how to accept this 30% increase. I mean, if my mortgage went up 30% a
Right.
year,
Right.
I'd be homeless in 2 years. So it was really hard to celebrate that because I know the dealings, I know the shady things that go on behind the
Mhm.
curtain,
Mm.
and that is so we are a part of a national grassroots movement of brokers who are saying no more to the modern healthcare mafia. And I'm not just talking about the BUCA carriers, Blue Cross, United, Cigna. I'm not talking about them. Our hospital chains, our pharmacy benefit managers. You've been gaslit by PBMs for the last 12 months and you don't know it. They have hijacked every advertising venue possible online to try to tell the American public that PBMs are a necessary
Mm.
way to keep your costs low. And that is absolutely gaslighting. You do not need pharmacy benefit managers, they just add in costs. And so
Sure.
we are part of a grassroots movement doing things vastly differently than most health insurance brokers do. I've got a really young guy on my staff who is just brainiac. He's my data nerd. Not the quintessential insurance sales guy, but brilliant mind, networks with brilliant people across the US who are showing employers how to take 20, 30, 40% off of their health insurance premiums without changing anything. And that's really significant in an economy like we have today.
Yeah.
Really significant. That's opening up multiple additional employment opportunities for them. You can hire more staff or invest in the company,
Yeah.
launch a new product instead of just giving all these excess profits to these tired old insurance companies that are really bilking the American public right now.
I've got to imagine that it's like pushing water uphill to fight this fight that you've been fighting for. How long did you say you've had your business?
So in this current format, 7 years, we have been
Yeah.
a full service brokerage firm for 7 years, where the majority of our work is spent trying to help employers wrangle these massive increases in their group health plans.
Well, thank you for everything that you're doing for all of us little guys. It's amazing.
It
So
is a mission. It's exhausting and definitely not easy. It's very frustrating. A lot of brokers spend their time on a golf course and they're making, bank, and they're just not interested in learning anything new or strategy. They just have great relationships with Anthem and UHC, and they get, we've heard of situations where United or where Anthem handed a renewal to a client, to a business owner, and told the broker, if you won't shop us this year, just get your client to accept this renewal. Tell them there's no better options. If you won't shop us, we'll give you a $150,000 bonus for
wow.
one case. Like there's a lot of money
Yeah.
behind the scenes in this area. So it is, it is definitely superhero work and exhausting, but it's nice when you know that your career and your calling can be combined when you're
Yes.
actually making an impact and not
Yeah.
just a paycheck, you know.
Yeah. Amen to that. That's awesome. So Lydia, we know that success in business, that our successful businesses at times get stuck and at various stages of their growth. And you sort of alluded to that earlier. So tell us about one of your biggest challenges over the last 7 years and what that challenge was, and maybe somebody that helped you to get through that.
My biggest challenge by far was physiological. So, because of, we won't go into therapy session here right now, but because of my codependency, if you've ever seen 19 Kids and Counting, the Jim Bob and Michelle Duggar family have 19 kids and all their kids have a bunch of kids. That is how I was raised in a very, the woman was very submissive. We were never
Mm,
to have a backbone or to speak our mind. We were just to say,
mm,
yes, sir. And that we were taught that God led through the man and whatever he said went, right? And so um, as an adult, I continued to behave that way in my marriage and at work. I mean, I was told that if I would just be submissive, now think about this, I'm in the insurance industry. If I would just
right.
be submissive and do the right thing, then blessings would come back to me. That is not what happened in the insurance industry. And so I was literally exhausted. I was a top performer being targeted all the time because I wouldn't party with people. Like I wouldn't fudge, I wouldn't lie on applications so somebody over here could get a bonus.
Yeah.
I conducted business the right way to honor God, and I was targeted. My team was targeted. No matter how much production we put on the books,
Right.
we just didn't line up with that profit at all cost
Yeah.
business
Yeah.
model that so many insurance companies and brokerages have. And so as I launched this business, and the last fell swoop that came, the last blow that was delivered to me and my staff by this industry was 7 years ago. And overnight, without cause, no conversation, I used to be an ex-compliance officer. You can look at our book of business and there would not be a little iota missing, right? Like
Yeah.
every I was dotted, every T was crossed. We followed all the rules. And overnight, our entire income and book of business that we built up was taken away from us and given to somebody's boyfriend who had just become licensed
Ooh.
and knew nothing. So my entire staff
Mm.
um, was without income overnight. At that point, we just tried to hit the ground running. That's when Integrity Benefits Partners was born. We're
Wow.
like, all right, well, we're going to do this differently. We're going to make sure that
Yeah.
nobody else can affect our clients' experience or our families.
Yeah.
And but at the same time, physiologically, I broke. So I was
Mm.
45 years old and had had a lifetime of what my counselor called the gazelle running from the cheetah in constant
Right.
adrenal
Yep.
overload.
Right.
And so at that time, at the perfect time, God sent a young man to my agency and he took over for me. And he basically was my crutch during that time. Brilliant young man, didn't know a thing about the industry, very little, but he's going to inherit the kingdom when I retire. He has been an amazing business partner, counselor, supportive person. And he's just the best guy I know other than my husband. He literally is one of the best fellas I know. And he has spoken into my career, even though I hired him. He
Yeah.
has spoken into my career, into my pain, into my needs. You go take care of that, Lydia. I will handle this. I don't know
Wow.
what I'm doing, but I'll take care of it, right?
Yeah.
So he really the time when my body broke, and I'm that overachiever, right? I'm trying to
Yeah.
get the alphabet behind my name. I'm always number one in sales
Yeah.
and doing it, with a heart for God and a heart for people. And I broke because I was not taking care of myself.
Yeah.
And he stepped in at the right time, saved the business so that I could go take care of myself
Yeah.
physiologically, get my feet back under me, get rest, take a sabbatical. So he has been absolutely invaluable to the growth of Integrity Benefit Partners. Proud to have him as a partner.
And would it be okay to say his name?
Yes, everybody knows him. He's amazing. It's Dylan Melling.
Fantastic. That is awesome. What a great story. Wow. Well, I'm gonna put you on the spot because now we
Oh
gotta
no.
one up that.
Oh
Um,
no. Okay.
so I'm gonna ask you to pick three people in your business owner journey that you're most grateful for them being there for you, in helping with the business's growth. So who are those three people and how they help you?
Okay. I'm going to give two. I'm going to give you five, but I'm not going to talk very long about two. Paul Phillips was the first man to believe in me and offer me a job straight out of
Mm,
college. He has now gone on to be with Jesus. He worked for Lincoln Life Insurance Company, and so I would be remiss to not give him credit. I was literally on my way back down to Florida when he reached out and he said, "No, you need to come work at
mm,
Lincoln Life," and that is where I started my career. Wonderful man. The second one, we're just going to call her Kelly G. Kelly G. Uh, had the biggest impact on my career, not in a positive way.
mm.
She was who God placed in the path to keep my team from
Okay.
going down a route that was exhausting, not super profitable. You know,
Yeah.
we were exhausting ourselves. It's not where we were supposed to be. And
Yeah.
so God placed an arch nemesis in that position so that we would pivot. It was terrible and terrifying, and I don't understand people being treated that way.
Sure.
But it literally, God used even that. God
Yeah.
uses even, I won't say that she was wicked, but God uses the wicked or the troubles in our life to
Yeah.
put us on the path that He wants us on.
Yeah.
So those are my honorable mentions. Um, for my one, two, and three,
I find it it's comical on my end to hear how each person that I interview explains the ability to give more than three people. So I love it. You did a great job. Okay, so honorable mentions. That's a new
honorable
term.
mentions.
Okay.
Okay. So, first and foremost, I thought a lot about this. Dylan is going to be my number three, and we've already talked about him. I'll mention a little bit more in a minute, but I want to mention and try to mention it without crying my makeup off. My father,
Mm,
Dan Helms. So he had a very challenging life as a young person. He was adopted and adopted into a family that was very abusive. And so as a result, he made abusive choices. In his early years, he was very heavy into drugs. He was the lead singer in a rock and roll band, not providing for his family. We lost our home. We lived in a tent
yeah.
due to his running towards the things that made him feel better at that time. And he a preacher reached out to him and began literally spending time and investing in him
Oh,
in
wow.
his early 20s and worked hard with him through his hard questions and everything, through his rebellion, through his anger at God for his life situation. And he trusted Jesus. And it was like one of those glorious hanky waving salvations, you know, like everything stopped. He did a
Wow.
360, 180. Sorry, he did a 180, not a 360. And like overnight, after he accepted Jesus,
Wow.
and he has such a real relationship with Jesus. Like he's like, no, God, that ain't cool. Let me, it like he will fight with God, and God is all right with that. He's like, yeah, bring me your challenges, bring me, test me, try me, prove me, see if I won't be the person that I say I am for you. And so my dad has had such a visible faith and a working his, faith and salvation out with God. And he probably would be surprised that I would mention him here because we didn't have the best of childhoods,
Sure.
for a big part of our life.
Sure.
And the fact that he can own up to his mistakes, ask true forgiveness, repair relationships, and even with all of his faults and shortcomings that, were infused upon him as a child, he always has pointed us to Jesus. I can't get you this far. I can't I can't fix this, right? I can't fix this about me. God's working on me. But here, let me point you to Jesus. Let me show
Mm,
you how to avoid the impact of this while I'm working out, my own addictions and things like that. Very rare that
wow.
you find a person able to do that. And so his pointing me in the direction of Jesus always, no matter what circumstances, were around us,
Awesome.
um, it has made me the person who I am. And he would be shocked to hear that. And many people who know us would be shocked to hear that because of our relationship,
Sure.
as a child and father and the things that we endured at his hand. But watching him follow Jesus hard as best as he can and try and change and impact so many families. He offers counseling to families, and if he can't figure it out, he'll go research. And he has
Wow.
put back together hundreds of families and led so many people to a
Mm,
saving knowledge of Jesus. And he has just spent his entire life trying to give back to humanity and help raise them up like he was raised up by the young preacher that invested in him. Number two would be my mama. Um, My mama is the smartest person I know, super well-rounded. I go to her for business. She hasn't had a job in years. She has supported my dad's ministry, and I don't care. She knows everything that I need to know about taxes and employee management and just everything, personal self-care, everything. She's Mensa level brilliant, but happy to just serve my dad in his ministry
Ah,
and serve God through that ministry
yeah.
and support him. And so she is my everything. I'm so grateful. Every night, I have a gratefulness practice before I go to bed. And I express gratefulness to God that my parents are still here. Not
Ah,
everybody gets that benefit.
yeah.
Yeah. So, and then there's Dylan. And if you knew his backstory, this young man is the best father, husband, coworker, friend, community advocate. He is the best person I have ever met.
Ah,
And the sole reason why I'm still in business. So his family will be blessed with this business when I'm ready to go.
I love it. That is awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. And look, no tears. Wow,
They're right there. They're right there.
none that have rolled
Yeah,
down your face anyway. So it's all good.
I'm blinking a lot.
Yes, yeah. We'll just give you a second there to, yeah. Do a little foofing up, blowing
Yeah,
up.
all right. Got it.
Lydia, the path to building a successful business has a lot to do with our mindset. So what's your biggest learning as a business owner?
My biggest thing that I have learned in life as a business owner, as a spouse, as a mom, everything is that codependency does not translate well into the business world. You need a backbone, you need strong boundaries, you need an ability to advocate for yourself and your team and your clients.
Yeah.
And sometimes that means you can't be BFFs with everybody. I wanted everybody to like me.
Yeah.
And let's face it, there's just some people out there that they don't care
Yep.
who they like. They don't care what they do. They are going to step on everybody. They are going to, abuse and steal from clients and
Yeah.
their staff and other coworkers. And so I tried to please everybody for far too long. And sometimes justice and leadership looks like saying no,
Yeah. Absolutely.
not in my house.
Yep.
Right. So that only took me 10 years of therapy to say that.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
You were on the fast track.
Money well spent.
What piece of advice or guidance would you give a business owner who's feeling stuck and discouraged in their business?
Oh, this may not go where you think it is going to go, but I would say listen.
Hmm.
Listen to your body, listen to your surroundings, listen to the signs
Hmm.
that the universe or God is showing you because, feeling discouraged is normal. Having a panic attack is not,
Hmm.
right? Sometimes significant challenges that are set before us, they don't always mean just powering through. Powering through is what winners do, right? Sometimes God, the universe, whatever you believe in, sometimes we're being guided away from harmful situations and towards things or people that bring us light and health and joy, right? And a flourishing life. And so, um, just staying stuck somewhere. I told you I don't stay stuck. I'm so sensitive to that. I'm like, no, that's not working out for me. We're going to explore something over here. There is an exercise that I encourage all business owners to do every 3 years or so. And it's from a book called Designing Your Life by Bill Burnett. And it's called the Odyssey Career Explorer. It's a very simple exercise, but you basically look at your current career. What happens if I just double down on my current career and give it all I got? What resources do I need? What are the financials there? Do I have the finances to do that? The second pivot is if my career went away tomorrow, if AI took over broker
Hmm.
roles tomorrow, what's the next thing that I'm good at that I could do? And
Okay.
then you evaluate that. Do I have the resources? What would it take financially? What does that look like? And then the third option is now let's dream a little.
Hmm.
If money were not an object, what would you like to do?
Yeah.
Right. So many times we get stuck in a career path and we think we have to stay there,
Yeah.
that we wait for our career to happen to us instead of saying, hey, what do I want my life to look like? How
Yeah.
many hours a week do I want to work? Just because America says eight
Sure.
hours a week, two weeks vacation a year, That's not like, it's not written on the Ten
Yeah,
Commandments. Like,
yeah,
what do I want my work to look like? What do I want to have as far as work-life balance? What do I enjoy doing? And so that exercise, doing it every 3 to 5 years,
yeah.
really helps you design your own life experience
Love it.
versus just letting life happen to you. Um, so I would say listen, don't just power through everything. Listen to the signs, especially your body signs. Your autonomic nervous system will start shutting down when you're not in a place where you feel safe, where you feel valued,
Yeah.
invigorated. And so listen to that and pray, ask God what that pivot might be, and then for sure, for Pete's sake, take the pivot, because every time I have done that, man, blessings have opened up, peace
Mhm.
floods in. My family sees a difference, in the way I can show up at home.
Yeah,
So I would say, listen, don't just power through everything.
I love it. That's awesome.
That might not be the action coach's answer to that.
No, it's a great answer. Some of the things that we have our clients do are aligned in terms of we do things like what's your bucket list, right? What are your personal
Mhm.
dreams and aspirations that the business has to pay for, right? And what's the timeline for that? And mindset and meditation. And for clients who are believers, we talk about prayer and right, what's your morning ritual and routine for prayer and getting your mindset right and what's your evening yeah, so very much aligned. Yeah, I love
All
it.
right, good.
So as you think about the next year, where are you currently feeling stuck or an area that you need to sort out in order to achieve your long-term goals?
So if you had asked me that 10 years ago, I would have said everywhere. I'm literally walking on eggshells, just hoping I don't pass out. And I did pass out a couple of times as I was trying to continue to pursue perfection at all costs.
Yeah,
And, I had not been taught to care for myself or take vacations or
yeah,
anything. I was taught your worth is in what you do for God,
yeah,
and for others. And so 10 years ago, my answer would have been very different. I probably would have burst into tears right here on the podcast. But now I really don't feel stuck. I feel very confident in where we are, but that is due to 10 years of
yeah,
intense counseling,
yeah,
coaching, and reading. I have just had to rewire my brain
yeah,
with great coaches, great counselors, and always listening on Audible to books that resonate with what I'm going through and encourage me in times of discouragement. So I'm pretty right now. I know life has cycles,
yeah,
but right
yeah,
now
that's
I'm in the
awesome.
cycle where I feel very confident about the business. We've built it out. The first 5 years were very stressful, as they are when you're building a business, designing your systems, hiring the correct people,
Yeah,
setting, your
yeah,
client experience up. But I feel like we've already, gone through that takeoff period where the plane
yeah,
dips a little on
yeah,
takeoff, and we're just soaring at 30,000 foot now. And, prepared for even the blows that may come
yeah,
eventually. So I'm feeling really great right now. But again, that's just thanks to 10 years
yeah.
of clawing and
Good for you.
climbing and
Yeah,
trying to get out of the mud pit that was in my brain
yeah.
about where my self-worth lies and what life has to look like as an overworker.
That's awesome. So now that you're at that, I'll use your analogy, the 35,000 feet. What's the next thing? What's the next goal or the next, strategy or objective that you need to work through?
Um, So the next thing is transitioning the
Hmm.
business,
Yeah,
the day-to-day of the business to Dylan. He's
yeah,
already doing a lot of he's our practice lead, so he's doing a lot of the strategy for clients. We have a great co-working relationship. We're definitely partners in this business. I don't feel like I'm his employer. And he's has to listen to me. I listen to him. And we really balance each other out. He's got
yeah.
that younger, more aggressive, really, really brilliant mentality. And he knows tech. And then I kind of bring in the sage wisdom,
Hmm.
right? Okay, well, I have the legal liability for this. So let's whether we really want to go down
Yeah,
this route, or
yeah.
let's source this out a little more.
Love it.
And so we really balance each other out well. I have two new businesses that I want to start. So I have
Oh,
to
great.
I have to transfer. I don't know that I would make him the CEO yet, because he's great in his role, but fractional CEO work to kind of
Yeah.
run the business day to day,
Yeah.
while I start two other businesses that I believe, are going to have significant impact on in the same area.
Love it. And
So that's kind of exciting. Also, why would I do that when I just built a business that exhausted me? But yeah, that's the next step is transitioning into more of a I own this business over here, and I
yeah.
also do, I have other things in life, not just 18 hours a day on this
Yeah.
business.
Love it. That is awesome. So last question, Lydia. Jim Rohn, um, just an awesome business guru. One of his quotes says that we become the average of the five people that we spend the most time with. So as you think about that, what advice do you have for business owners who are feeling overwhelmed or stuck or stressed and just trying to do it all and figure it all out on their own?
So that was me for
Hmm.
the first 5 years of this business.
Yeah.
I stayed so stuck in the business that I did not get out and talk to anybody.
Hmm.
I just worked and worked and worked and worked, which was, status quo from my childhood.
Yeah.
Um, Worked and worked and worked and worked. And I saw all these other folks having rich lives, meeting people on the golf course, going out for drinks together, going to concerts together, even Dylan. Like Dylan works harder than I do, and he has a wonderful social life. So many connections, even in our industry, a lot of our carrier
Yeah.
partners and vendors and stuff. Everybody loves him. He has a rich friendship group and is always going places with everybody. And I couldn't figure it out. But it's because in my own head, I told myself, I have to work this hard.
Hmm.
Right. And so when I looked around, I told you I don't stay stuck too long. When I
Yeah.
looked around and saw that other people were having a life experience that I want to have friends over to sit around in the
Yeah.
back and have a barbecue. I never had time for that. So I was always,
Yeah.
grinding and building and working. And so getting out, meeting with people, networking with people, even though it's the last thing we want to do because we're exhausted when
Yeah.
we're building a business, getting rich networks, going out and intentionally developing friendships. We are in a crisis of loneliness in America right now. I've tons of articles and books out there, New York Times bestseller books about the loneliness epidemic we're going through. And so I would tell them, get your nose out of the books, out of the computer. Literally the filling of you from the invigoration that comes from
Hmm.
interpersonal connections
Hmm.
with folks that may not be in your business. Hopefully they're not, because that's exhausting to talk to
Yeah.
somebody
Right.
else that's struggling like you are. But go meet with a group of construction guys. They're fun to hang out with, right? Just go swing out some golf balls at Top Golf or something. Go get out of your own head and reconnect to humanity,
Hmm.
and folks that can really, that just care about you, not about your business.
Yeah.
And you will return to that business so much more recharged when you have a rich social life. And that is something I have not had for 50 years, but the last 4 years I have intentionally focused on doing that.
For
And I'm
you.
smiling. I'm a
Yeah.
happy person. I'm not exhausted
I
anymore.
love
So I
it.
would just say develop rich personal connections and absolutely schedule it just like you will schedule prospecting time.
Yes, yes, because if it's not on your calendar, right, it doesn't happen, right?
Right, right.
Great advice. Thank you so much. Well, Lydia, it sounds like you've been blessed with some incredible people who have helped you in your business owner journey. If they were all here on the show today, what would you want to say to them?
Wow. Never thought that I could be as happy as I am right now. And it's not because of anything that I did. It is because of the people, including my amazing counselor, who was God built just for me. She didn't lay me on a couch and say, "All right, let's talk about when you were 4. What happened when you went to daycare and weren't given a cookie." I don't. That is not how I work. Just tell me what I need to do different, and let me go through it. So, amazing counselor that God sent, amazing resources. Pastors that have spoken into my life, but I am so happy. And if you knew my childhood, you would know what a difference that is, but truly joyful, truly happy. And it is 100% because of the people that I let into my life and also some people that I removed from my life at certain points in time. And so, yeah, it is truly possible to be exuberantly joyful about life. Um, and I think that's a great picture to put out in front of anybody nowadays, with what's going on with our mental health crisis in America, is that no, this is absolutely possible. You just have to hang with the right people and
Yeah,
invest your time wisely and invest in yourself.
I love it. Wow. What an awesome story and advice. It's been a pleasure having you on the show, Lydia. Thank you so much for sharing your story.
Well, thanks for having me, Tim. I appreciate it.
Thanks for listening to the Self-Made is a Myth show. Please help spread this movement by liking and subscribing to our show and following us on Facebook and LinkedIn. To join our movement, go to bemadtogether.com. Okay, folks, that's a wrap. Please pay it forward and be sure to tune in next time to the Self-Made is a Myth podcast.